Welcome to another episode of the Blue Fort Blueprint. I'm Siddhant and I'm joined by Viraj and Sayyam as always. If you remember last time we started a new format. We're going to be talking about the latest world of business and finance. And this week we're back again. I think the first thing that we wanted to speak about guys is the Paytm debacle that happened. If I'm not wrong, last week the stock went down by a good 60%, and from its peak, I think from the IPO, it's good. I think it's a good 85%, right? And I think, Sayam, you had some interesting things to say about Paytm from an equity research analyst standpoint. So talk us through what's happening and what your opinion on, the whole thing that happened last week.
What happened was that the RBI had enough. They hadn't been complying for a while, for a few years, and Paytm they received a lot of warnings. They were told to stop adding new customers, and eventually RBI said enough. Now you can't take any more money as well. I mean that has been spoken about, that has been talked about. It's for quite some time. What I found interesting was the concept of the payments bank itself, right? Which was launched about 8 years ago. Paytm was one of 11 applicants to actually receive the license. Of those, three gave it up straight away. And today, only six of them are operating. Only six of the original 11 applicants are actually operating a payments bank license. So, that in itself, I think, is a question that whether the framework that they were operating in, that the RBI had set up, is right. Out of those six that are operating, only one was profitable, Paytm. And you can say maybe it's because they were cutting corners that they were profitable. But the fact that only one out of 11 is actually could make the business model work or not really work, it's a question whether the framework itself was a problem point and whether regulations could have been more friendly. So that's a bit of a counter thesis that I have come across.
But I think in the RBI guidelines or what they mentioned about Paytm, right? They mentioned that they had what one PAN used for 1,000 accounts and many more regulatory,
Yeah.
you know, fall downs or breakdowns, you would say, which they were not complying with. And they, if I'm not wrong, right, they were given a lot of time as well to rectify that. But I think you see how the valuations have changed and how people don't think about what's going on the back end. They just want their share price to go up and ignoring the rest of the things around them, which led to the decision what the RBI has taken as well.
Yeah, I think actually, if you speak to someone generally, people have a hard time understanding Paytm's business model. And it's not easy to understand, what their revenue sources are, what's happening in the back end, what compliance they should be following. So it came as a shock to all of us that suddenly the RBI is, restricted them from accepting any new deposits. And when we say deposits, at the end of the day, we don't even know what that means because, like you
Exactly.
said, it's a payments bank. The concept of payments bank is also hard to understand, because this is not like a regular bank that can lend. It cannot accept deposits from the public. So what exactly is the function of a payment bank and why it's required? Like a Google Pay, for example, which is also a payment gateway. Do we call it? Or a UPI service provider. It has tied up with other banks like your private banks or public sector banks. But Paytm has its own bank at the which we call a payments bank.
So the concept of the payments bank, essentially how it's different to a regular bank, is that a regular bank makes its money from lending. Right? They take money, deposits, they give it out at a higher interest rate, and that's what they earn on. Payments bank, the primary source of revenue was supposed to be payments itself, and as we all know, that operates on very very thin margins. And as I said, no one was profitable except for Paytm, and that business model in itself, I think, is sort of unviable to operate only on payments margins.
Paytm also, whether it was profitable or not is kind of suspect. There was like an accounting adjustment that they had done, and they had said that they are just profitable. But at the end of the day, it's not a very profitable business model, so to speak. I think what they were trying to do was they were trying to cross sell other financial services, like they had opened mutual funds and insurance and all kinds of other services, as all of these guys do, to make some more money on the side.
Look, I'll tell you one thing. Don't get me wrong here, but I have mad respect for Paytm and even a better respect for Vijay Sharma. Right. What they have built in the Indian fintech space, what they have tried to do 5 years, 10 years down the line, right? Before, I mean, 5 years, 10 years ago, what they wanted to do was phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, when Paytm came, it changed the way how people started looking at payments. Look, today we play games or we play pickleball or whatever that is, right? even every kind of account is sorted out right then and there. मैं Paytm कर लूँगा, मैं Google Pay कर लूँगा, correct? That was initiated by Paytm. So massive respect to what they've done. But what happened was when these companies come up with an IPO or when these companies start looking at it from that perspective कि valuation बढ़ाना है या मुझे मेरी share price ऊपर लेके जानी है. So if you remember, I think we spoke about this also. The CFO of Paytm, when the IPO had come at 2100 levels, right? Everyone thought it was massively overvalued. And to as wealth managers, we've been operating in the unlisted space in the last 5-7 years, right? Paytm was always in that 500, 600 range, and suddenly during the IPO it came at 2100. And he mentioned at that time that they've still left enough value for investors, which I mean, it's at 300 now, yeah.
Yeah.
So the point being that they've done a good job. But when do you start looking at these metrics, no, valuations and your share price and stuff like that? So even coming up with a mutual fund, they came up with a low cost mutual fund trying to disrupt the industry and all of it. There were allegations against them as they were selling that data to China. Right now, I don't know what is true and what is not. Right?
China's a big investor in their parent company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what happens with such things, right? Then because of investor pressure or because maybe you are on the wrong path, maybe your intentions are not that right. We don't know as of now. But these problems are bound to happen after that.
Yeah, we spoke about this concept, I think, in the last episode also with Byju's. And
Correct.
we can link
Absolutely.
the last episode to this one, but when valuation and shareholder interest comes into play, it becomes a whole other concept than the actual business itself. That is true.
So what's happened is that Vijay Shekhar Sharma is a very charismatic guy. If you sit with him, he'll make you believe anything and everything. He's that good, right? And the story was there, like they pitched the story of payments, fintech in India to such a large population. It's all great. The story makes a lot of sense, but it really then comes down to execution, right? Execution not just to scale, but execution to actually scale in a way that can eventually become profitable. And Paytm has just, I guess, fallen short over there. A great example that has done well or has sort of been able to recoup it is something like a Zomato, where
Brilliant.
we're seeing that the story was there. It was all sold on the story and the share price went up after the initial IPO. After that, it went down to about 40, 50 rupees. And now it's going back up because they're actually consistently executed. They've maintained, or rather, they've increased their market share, and they're now profitable.
They had a
massively
record
profitable.
quarter, right?
So their most recent quarter was not just like they didn't just scrape through the profitability. They had very good profits.
But if you guys watch Shark Tank, right, you should just, if you don't watch, it's okay. Just watch the episodes where Dipinder Goyal is there. What a guy.
Very
Brilliant.
smart guy. Very smart guy.
Brilliant guy, very, very smart. He'll bet on the founders. He will actually ask the questions which are to be asked in a business, right? And I'm not surprised by Zomato. But I think Vijay Shekhar also, he seems to be one of the good guys. Of course, we don't know I have not met him, so I
the
wouldn't
good
say.
guy.
He seems to be one of the good guys. I'll tell you why. Because when this Paytm issue happened, right, the entire startup community on Twitter, on other social media, wasn't like, people in India like to kind of, when something bad happens, they look down upon it. Ki, "Acha, ye to hona hi tha, ye
But
tha."
he gathers a lot of support,
He
I think.
gathered
from
a lot
his-
of support
yeah.
from
the other
every,
community.
from the
Correct.
entire community, which I think kudos to him. He's built that brand for himself.
Yeah, and ever since the whole news also broke out last week, he's been running around. He's gone to meet the finance
लोग
minister.
बोल रहे
he's
थे
gone to
इलेक्शन आ रहा है
meet-
तो बहुत पैसे लेके गया कि finance minister को मिलने.
Yeah, so I guess then the question is for people who are watching, if somebody is holding on to Paytm shares, what are they supposed to do with it? Are they supposed to sell it off? Are they supposed to hold on to it? Or is it, because I guess it's a call on the promoter. If he can pull off some magic, then we may even see that they somehow comply with the existing whatever compliance that they have to sort out, and they might just pull themselves out of this whole.
I think for me, sitting here today, it's a bit of a hope stock. Hope that the regulatory issues are sorted out. Vijay Shekhar Sharma can pull a rabbit out of the hat. Maybe he can. He has done it. So I don't know. It'll be a waiting game. But if you just look at the pure facts and logic, it's probably something that you shouldn't hold on to, or just have a very, very small part of your portfolio into.
I am with Sayyam. This is not a random earning gone wrong, or let's say just some effect of a certain decision on the share price. Right? It's a regulation done by RBI. And to be honest, RBI has done a phenomenal job in this entire fiasco. They've kept the communication extremely clear. They've been very honest. They've given warnings, and they've been very clear as to you cannot mess around with the general public, right? Because Paytm is used by the general public So it's a proper regulatory ban, right, on around 500, 600 crore worth of revenue of their business. So as Sayam said, right, it might not just be another trick he can pull out and maybe get the share price up, because a lot of lenders and a lot of merchants have stopped using Paytm and shifted to competitors.
Yeah, I think in within 1 month it's impossible to comply with all the KYC norms that.
Exactly. And if you are, as an investor, to answer your question, if you have held on because of fundamentals and you still believe that, okay, this is still a good company because their main business is still intact, then maybe hold on to it. But if you've just, taken another punt on this because like Zomato, Paytm will beat its estimates and all that, then I don't think it's a good idea to hold on to
Yeah,
it.
so there we go. I guess it's a hope stock. Should not have too much, hope from it. But let's see what can happen. Another thing that I wanted to discuss with you guys, and like I saw an article this morning, it absolutely blew my mind. The number of retail traders in India that have gone into FNO trading, right? The participation is insane. In 2023, the number of contracts that were traded in India is 85 billion contracts only in 1 year. In the US, that number is 11 billion
No
contracts.
way. That's
So
seven times.
yeah,
Seven and a half
seven,
times.
8 times
That's insane.
in a market that is way, way, way smaller than something like the US. Okay, the average. I think there were some more interesting stats. The average contract held, the time held for that contract, right? अपन जो करते हैं ना futures and
Correct,
option
correct,
trading,
correct.
was less than 30 minutes. So that shows the volume कि लोग कितना often कर रहे हैं, right? People are sitting there, unproductive channel, and sitting there and doing this. I think last year report came out that 9 out of 10 people are losing money on this, the SEBI report, right? And one more very interesting fact was that almost $5 billion have been lost in India by the retail public last year on
In
options trading
2023.
in 2023,
Oh
right?
man,
And the
that's
average
insane.
loss per person was about $1,500. Now, this is a country where the GDP per capita is $2,500. So imagine what's going on in our country.
But you tell me, why do you think that, why is this 85 billion and these numbers, $1,500 is a lot per person,
I
a
think
loss?
I think there is a culture in our country of shunning away or talking negative about the old school conventional instruments like mutual funds or stocks or gold or real estate. People want to make quick money, and this is propagated by, and we've spoken about this before. But there is a huge sort of upcoming. Of self-styled market gurus.
Correct.
There's a huge crowd of that who claim and tell the public, they hold like massive conferences in five-star hotels, and they tell the public that they can make very very quick money trading in FNO, right? And if you actually see what SEBI has actually conducted audits on their own personal trading portfolio, and these guys are sitting in huge losses. So their actual wealth creation is coming from selling courses, not from their trading themselves, right? So that is really unfortunate, and I think this is something that SEBI needs to crack down on immediately.
I feel one of the major culprits of this entire numbers, what you mentioned, or this entire FNO game, right, has been the lockdown.
Yeah.
What happened, right? Before lockdown, I don't think I've heard people coming up to me and asking me about futures and options so much. We've been in the industry since the last 7, 8 years, right? This is the last 3, 4 years where youngsters, forget youngsters for that matter, established businessmen also for
Yeah,
that matter,
yeah.
right? They'll be like, अच्छा इसमें FNO करना है, HDFC बैंक का लॉट उठा लिया, इसका ये कर लिया, निफ्टी पे खेलना है मुझे, correct? Now again, in isolation, you see, it seems like, okay, I'll make some quick buck, but I'll tell you the elevator and stairs theory. When you make money over there, it's like climbing stairs. You go slowly, right? And it's the time you lose money. It falls down like an elevator.
What's also happened is that data has become so easy. Everyone has smartphones. Everyone has now access to this. There are so many apps, and the entire industry is geared towards making people trade because the industry makes money off of that. So broking, right? They make money if you buy and hold. They're not making money. The more you churn your portfolio, the more money they're making. So even if you look at like business channels, right? Most of the guys sitting there are giving short-term calls.
Right.
They're giving that this is the target for the day. This is the stop loss. Not many of them, or it's rare that someone says that okay, buy and hold these stocks for the next 10 years.
The thing is, a lot of the broking, the new apps also that have come out, right? That everybody has been using. They're giving that. They're telling investors that look, we don't charge you any commission, right? So on that lure, what they're doing is that they are making money only off of FNO trading. So yeah, like you said, the only incentive they have is for you to keep trading, your portfolio.
Let me ask you a question. You are wealth. We are all wealth managers, right? we all deal with professionals, we all deal with different kinds of clients, right? How many of them have actually come up and told you that, okay, if my propensity to save on a monthly basis
Yeah.
is, let's say, 2 lakh rupees a month, right? Our suggestion as wealth managers is, आप 2 lakh की SIP कर लो,
Correct.
correct? Or if you want, you do 1.5 lakh SIP and 50,000 cash or whatever. How
Right.
many of them tells us कि नहीं, या तो मुझे crypto करना है, या तो मुझे ये FNO करना है. I just want to make some quick buck out of it, right?
Correct.
I think that's what 8, 9 out of 10 people who tell us
A lot of people have started saying
in
it,
general,
yeah.
and that's, I think, verifies with the SEBI report of 9 on 10 making losses. So I
Correct,
think
correct.
A lot
Yeah,
of people, even for short-term money, which obviously should be kept in debt, and you should capital protection becomes important there. People are like, 6 महीने में trade कर लेता हूँ, उसमें कुछ कमा लूँगा, as if it's almost a given that you're going to make money, and that's clearly not the case. When the market is at its peak, everything looks so rosy, but that can change so quickly.
Yeah, I don't know what people don't understand, but there is just no concept of quick money. Unfortunately, if you do any kind of futures and options trading, it is almost 100% probability that you're going to lose money. There is no doubt about it.
why don't you tell us your honest experience with this entire bit?
Yeah, both of us, in fact. Like when we started Bluefort, I think
The first 6 months.
we were young and stupid. Again, that the first 6 months we had no income, so we said that let's create some income. By what do we do? At least we have no meetings, nothing. So let's just start making some money off of trading FNO. And मुझे याद है कि I had like a net total savings when I quit my job of only like 8-10 lakhs. That's it. And in the first month we were trading, and I had a loss of I think 1,30,000 if you remember.
That one day, it was a
In that
Thursday or
one
something.
day, it was
yeah.
not even one day, in a couple of hours.
Couple of
right?
hours, yeah.
And I squared off my position, and I think that's the best thing that's actually happened to me, because since then I never looked back. I've never traded in a single
It
futures.
was the
and
last day.
options.
Yeah, same for me.
Correct. I've never done it.
That's what, I keep having these conversations, and I keep telling people that they keep giving examples of their own earnings or experience for their friends, and I say there's literally one day can wipe all of that out. The best kind of investing is quite boring. Buy and hold, and hold it for the long term. People don't like that, unfortunately, but that is what gives the best results.
One of our largest clients, she texted me recently that can you give me a can you suggest some courses for stock trading?
No
I
way.
want to learn. I think
don't know
she's
this.
almost 60 years old,
Yeah,
and
I
she
mean,
said,
what?
yeah.
What do you do?
I gave her a list of courses.
You did?
Yeah. But I told her with a caveat that, look, see, because if you don't, then it seems like I have a personal vested interest, right? At the end of the day.
But for her,
But
from
No, but I gave a disclaimer saying that, look, I am pretty sure you're going to lose money. I'm not pretty sure, I'm 100% sure. But still, if you want to go ahead and try it, she's wealthy, yeah, so if she, wants to play around, it's okay. But it is what it is. So I gave her a list of courses. See, people don't understand if somebody is selling you courses. अगर कोई master trader है, they don't have to sell courses, यार.
Exactly. वो खुद करेंगे.
How difficult is it to understand that if you are somebody who understands equity trading, FNO trading, and you can make crores of rupees, and you're traveling in Rolls Royces, G wagons, and you're owning aeroplanes, and whatever you're doing, you don't need to sell courses to a group of public and 5-star hotels. It's just not necessary. I don't know why people don't understand that basic logic. So another thing we were discussing today morning, I think, is UPI, right? It's starting to be accepted in a lot of other countries. The two biggest one that caught my eye was France and Singapore, and even the UAE. Actually, if countries like these are accepting Indian technology, that's something that we should be super, super proud of. And let's see how far this can take us, because this is a massive step towards progress from India's side.
UPI as a concept, right? When it was started initially, it was, if you remember, especially from the opposition, and then we had an ex-governor who still likes to say negative things about us, right? Now they always ridiculed it, saying that ye nahi chalega. How will the small business do it? How will the locals do it? Kind of a thing, right? And it has been one of the greatest, if not the greatest, tech innovations coming from India, right? We always said since the dot-com bubble or since 90s or till date, we always tell people, and this is, I also say it, I've been a culprit of it, saying that we are 15-20 years behind USA, we are 15-20 years behind the West, right? With UPI coming into the picture, right? It is absolutely massive what scale it could operate on going forward. People are going to look up to us, saying that, okay, if these guys have done it, and see, France, Mauritius, UAE, Nepal, Bhutan, Singapore, 7 countries have already adopted it. The power that comes, we mentioned, right? We spoke about the soft power.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, if all this payments data will come to India in any way. Because if we're getting that kind of data, then there's a lot of soft power that India starts exuding over the world.
right? And technologically also, if you look at Apple, if you look at your Microsofts and everywhere, right? Everywhere there is an Indian CEO. So we always had that brain drain going around, and the tech was done in the US and everywhere else. Now this is a sign. This is how things are going to move forward in the next 10 years, in the 15 years. India is going to be the technological hub for the world, and I mean, you have to look at what is happening and say yes to that.
This is a product that is actually genuinely true innovation that we are actually exporting. And what's happening is that these global companies, something like Google, right? Google Pay, that is being driven out of India. We've always spoken about how Google has huge office here, has a lot of people working here, but the true innovation still happens in the UK or in the US, right? But Google Pay is actually being driven out of India. It's not that big of a thing anywhere else in the world. Even Amazon Pay has a very big team here, and a lot of innovation is coming out of here. So payments is a very clearly a space that India is leading the world in. And so China used to be very good with payments. Alipay, WeChat Pay. It's been a long time since they don't use cash there at all. But it was still not linked to the bank accounts. That was still a wallet kind of concept which was widely adopted. To go to have transactions from bank to bank like UPI, that is very, very impressive.
Yeah, but I think one thing which should be added here is that what you mentioned, correct? Phone Pay is around what 46, 47% of the market share when it comes to payments. Your Google Pay is around again 30, 35%, whatever. The addition of their foreign payment bank, right, is about 80, 82%. And Indian banks, I think Paytm is what 13, 14%, and the rest of all these apps, right, which keep coming, they're around 4, 5% only. Now it is our, I mean, as a country, what should have happened and what should happen now, right? The Indian leading banks like your HDFCs, what is happening with the RuPay credit card and all that, but in a pure fashion, they should be focusing on this, because rather than going on other means to kind of make their revenue, because going forward, whatever it is, the payments are going to be the maximum revenue generator. So all your Kotaks and HDFCs and everyone of the world has to be ahead in the space for India to truly emerge as victorious out of this entire, because it's our technology, but everyone else is making money off it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's our technology, but the foreigners are actually have made the most use of it. Phone Pay is Walmart and Google Pay is obviously Google. So Paytm was the only Indian incumbent, and then there were smaller other players. But it would be nice to see more Indian fintechs or banks taking over and
Coming
growing
into
their
the
market
space.
share.
Correct.
Yeah, you said you just mentioned that US is the kind of the hub of innovation. Lately, I think we've been having a lot of these discussions with clients that US markets are at an all-time high very quickly again. Ever since they were down in the slumps in late 2022. Is US market a bubble right now? Because all these tech stocks have absolutely exploded. Like Nvidia today overtook Amazon. Um, you know, uh, Anything to do remotely with AI is just going crazy right now. All the top, I think all of these, what we used to call FANG stocks, they have a new name, no? You said Max 7. So all of those are going crazy, and US markets are at an all-time high. So is that something that investors should be careful of? Or
I don't think it's a bubble. Of course, when the dot-com bubble actually happened, I was what 5, 6 years old. But the more I read
Yeah.
about it right now, so I
Yeah.
didn't see that day, so I can't
Correct.
claim that okay, that was a bigger bubble.
Correct.
But based on data only and based on facts which are presented in front of us,
Yeah.
at that time the valuations were what 43, 53 P.
Correct.
Right now it's around 25, 27, right? Which
Right.
is still a 60% difference.
Right.
Forget the valuations in general.
Yeah.
The US had not moved for 2020, 21 as much as India had moved, right? It is right now happening in a few good stocks. The rest of the stocks are still not working as much as these are, right? The Mag 7 or the FANG.
Correct.
So, and they are working because of the fact that they are coming up with new innovations in the market. Look at AI, which has come up, and
Yeah.
it has taken the world by storm in the last 2 years, correct? Everything is now AI. Every startup wants to be into that, correct? So, because of that, I think the returns have been great and the results have been good.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a bubble per se. I think, Sayyam, if you can shed some light, what do you think from
Yeah, I
that
completely
perspective?
agree. And two very good points. One is that the rally we talk about US being at an all-time high, Nasdaq crossed 16,000, S&P 500 crossed 5,000. So yes, we are at an all-time high, but it's been driven by those top 5, 7 stocks, right? Now the question is, are those bubbles? Are those businesses not doing well? That's not the case. These are genuine businesses. Nvidia has moved up so much because of its promise in AI. All of these companies are actually doing real innovation. So there is business behind it. They're making revenues, they're making profits. Whereas if you look back during the dot-com bubble, any company that had the word .com in it, it was just like anything and everything was running up.
Anything, bro. Anything with a remote.com. It was yeah, going absurd in valuation.
Wow.
So the poster child for this was pets.com, which used to sell products for pets, and that the valuation went through the roof. The business, I mean, the revenue wasn't huge. They never achieved a profit. It was just, again, all based on promises. And of course, that had to come crashing down at some point. I don't see anything like that happening with Alphabet or Microsoft or Google at all.
Like you said, there's a business behind it. These guys are sitting on billions of dollars in cash, and they are genuinely innovating products. Which, see, basically, I think in 2000 they had not figured out how to monetize the internet. The internet was created, but nobody knew how to monetize it. Everybody just knew this is a big thing, right? So, how to mix business with a new technology is something that was not there, and therefore the valuations went crazy. Today, also the valuations are quite high, but they are completely justified. These companies are sitting in a place. They are the hub of innovation. Like, let's say Apple, for example. It's always been
what
a
is the
rich.
cash they have, Apple?
I don't know the
What,
exact figure, but like
some
billions.
hundreds of billions,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, their market cap is more than countries. Yeah, I
Exactly.
think they're the third richest country in the world. Apple, if they were a country, something like that. If I'm not wrong, right? Their market cap is more than India's GDP. I think, if I'm not wrong.
3 trillion they crossed, right?
That's it.
Yeah, yeah. So more than India's GDP or just about the same, right? But my point of them being at a high valuation is that they deserve the high valuation. Yeah, they come out with one product and it changes the world, and billions of people use it. Vision Pro, for example, what Apple has come out with,
What a product.
it's going to change the way people do everything. And today it might be costing 3 lakhs, but soon enough it'll be very, very affordable, and billions of people are going to be wearing some sort of gadgets on there. We're becoming cyborgs. Yeah, look at my Apple Watch, right? My glasses are going to be digital very soon. Smartphone to, hey, it's a computer in my pocket. And these are the companies who are going to be launching these products again and again and again, right? So they deserve rich
it,
valuation.
right.
You cannot value these companies from the conventional, you cannot look at P's and say that, oh, they're expensive. I don't think that's how it works.
So to answer your question, should we still keep investing in the US? Absolutely. One, diversification as a concept is very important. That of course we in India is great. India is doing very well. We have to be investing in India, but we need to be investing in outside India as well. And US is a great market. Two, we use all of these companies more than we use Indian companies. We're using
Right.
Google products. We're using our services, Microsoft, Amazon, all of these literally every single
daily
day.
basis, right.
I mean, how much do you use something from Infosys or TCS
Nothing,
or
yeah.
Asian Paints?
Funnily, a lot of HNIs in India still they get very, very scared of investing in the US market, even though they use their products literally every single
day.
day. And they're like, नहीं HDFC बैंक में डालूंगा, but Amazon में नहीं डालूंगा.
नहीं, एंड फ्रॉम एन इंडियन इन्वेस्टर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, अगर आपके पास 100 रुपए है तो 10-20 रुपए उसमें डालने में एनी वे देर इज नो हार्म.
Correct.
It's not like even if it's a bubble, let's say it's a bubble, right? If
Yeah.
you put 10-20 rupees, it's not like your Indian stocks are not overvalued right now. Everything is over. Look at what's happening in the PSUs and all, right? So if whatever's going to fall, if US is going to fall, India is going to fall, and vice versa also.
And I tell my investors one thing, yeah, I think US by culture is the most capitalist country in the world. They are so money minded. They don't care about how you look. They don't care about wo sab left wing politics chhod do. But at the end of the day, if you have talent, right, and if you can add some genuine value to the world, they will call you to their country and they will make sure you innovate and they will create something magical, right? They are still doing that on an everyday basis. Nobody comes even close to them, right? And making money is what their society respects. आज आप कौन सी गाड़ी चला रहे हो, आपके पास कैसा घर है,
सब फर्क पड़ता है.
that's all they care about. And for somebody, a population with that mindset who is so capitalist, they're only bound to go up. They don't care about saving the world. They don't care about the environment. Yeah. They don't care. Whatever makes them money, they are going to do whatever it takes. So I think I always put my faith in a market like the US. Europe is shit. It's not going to work anymore. Their mindset is only messed up. But when it comes to making money, apart from India, in the next 10 years, US is always going to be relevant, in my opinion. Alright guys, so thanks so much for watching. We spoke about a couple of topics that were important for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please make sure to like the video. Please make sure to share with your friends and subscribe to the channel if you want a place where you can keep getting some updates on the world of business and finance. We'd really appreciate it because we put quite a lot of effort into this. So yes, like, share and subscribe. Thank you.